Tennessee Titans fans, welcome back to your new favorite segment. It's the two-tone top five, where I give you my top five in different categories from now until football season. Somebody requested this one, so I'm doing it today. It is my top five favorite Tennessee Titans players of all time. And I actually had to put some real thought into this. I literally sat here for like the last 30 minutes thinking about like who to put in the top five. And boy, oh boy, it was a tough list to put together, but I have managed to get through it. And so let's do it. This is the two-tone top five players of the Tennessee Titans of all time for me. And of course, I've got some honorable mentions. So it's really more like a top 10 list because I've got five honorable mentions just missing out on the top five. And the first one is indeed CJ2K Chris Johnson. Now, a lot of people would easily have him in their top five. A lot of people would easily say that this guy is a top five Titan for them all time. The only reason he's not for me is because most of the years that he was with the Titans were awful. They were absolutely terrible in those years. These were the Jake Locker, Zach Mettenberger years. These were bad years. And so when I think of the Chris Johnson Titans, I don't have fond memories. I just remember a whole bunch of losing, some terrible football, and he was like the lone bright spot on the team. Of course, he had the 2,000-yard year. I think it was his rookie year. They were the number one seed in the AFC. They went 13-3, I believe. So there were some good times, but I can't put Chris Johnson in my top five because I just associate his time with the Titans with bad football, not due to him, but I don't have as fond of memories of him. The second guy I would put on honorable mention is Big Jeff Simmons, one of the only players on this list that is still on the team today. His run with the Titans is not complete, but I feel like he's inching closer to my top five. I'm a big fan of Big Jeff. I've got an Oilers throwback jersey of Big Jeff. I think that a lot of people give him a lot of flack because he got paid a couple of years ago, and that raises expectations. I do think he should have been better at times last season, but I do think that when he is on his game, he is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. I think he's a dog, and I think he demands a double team every time he's on the field. I like his spunk. I like his attitude. I like the fire that he brings. So he is an honorable mention for me. The freak, Javon Curse, is an honorable mention. A lot of people would have him in their top five. He just misses the top five for me. I'm a big fan of Javon Curse. He was such a pivotal part of those great Titans teams in the late 90s, early 2000s, because he was a freak. And so Javon Curse has to be at least an honorable mention. D. Mace, Derrick Mason is also an honorable mention. I'm a big fan of D. Mace. I think he was ahead of his time. I think he was a player that would have fit in just about any era. A little undersized, but what he brought to special teams, what he brought as a wide receiver, he was so quick, so agile. I think that Derrick Mason doesn't get enough credit. And Chad Ochocinco agrees with me because Chad Ochocinco said he would give up his spot on the top 10 wide receivers of the 2000s list and give it to Derrick Mason. That's how highly he thought of him. One more honorable mention, and it goes to A.J. Brown. The only reason A.J. Brown's not on the top five is because he wasn't here long enough. And whose fault is that? We all know. But I think that A.J. Brown, if he had stayed a Titan, he would have easily been in my top five all time, and he would not have been fifth. He would have been really top three all time. It is such a shame that we let him go so early. He was only here for 3 years. He didn't even complete his rookie contract. But if not for the just ludicrous decision made by the team's management at that time, he would easily be a top five. The only reason he's not is just because he was only here for 3 years. But one of the stupidest decisions ever. Now let's officially get into my top five Titans of all time. And number five on the list is Keith by God Bulock, Mr. Monday Night. Keith Bulock. As a kid, I loved the neck thing that he had. I always loved, for some reason, his shoulder pads always seemed bigger than everybody else's. Like, I don't know if it was just the way he was built made the shoulder pads look so huge on him, but he just looked like a beast out there. I loved, like, he always found his way to the ball. Always would find his way to the ball. I remember he got a strip sack on Peyton Manning one time, returned it for a touchdown, and he started skipping at about the 10-yard line. And at that time, as a kid, I thought it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. And he was the heart and soul of that Titans defense until he left. He was a leader on that defense. You knew you were going to get good play from the linebacker position when Keith Bulock was in there. So he absolutely is in my personal top 5. Number 4, I had to really think about it, but I went with the mayor of Murfreesboro, Kevin Byard, at number 4. Similar to Keith Bulock, heart and soul of the defense when he was here, always found his way to the ball, but his leadership. I remember his last season, full season with the Titans. You may remember this. They were playing the Dallas Cowboys on a Thursday night game late in the season. It was a meaningless game because it was the week before the Titans were going to play the Jaguars for the AFC South. No matter what happened, that last game was going to be for the division. So the Titans were resting starters for the next week, and Kevin Byard refused to sit. He demanded that he play in the game, and he not only played, but he had 2 interceptions, and he was fighting. He wanted to beat the Dallas Cowboys that night, and that was a night that really, I already had so much respect for Kevin Byard, but my respect for him that night went up even more. His leadership, his attitude, just the kind of player you want on your team. And I understood why they traded him when they did, but it was just a tough pill to swallow. Number 3, you already know it goes to Mr. Eddie George. I mean, just look at the picture of him right there, folks. Just look at the picture. The guy was a freak. That build, his speed, his ability to take over a game, like, you obviously remember the playoffs against the Colts when the Titans ended up in the Super Bowl a few weeks later. He had the big run that ultimately won them the game. All of the encounters he had with Ray Lewis over the years. And just such a good guy. So easy to root for. A pure, wholesome figure in the eyes of Tennessee Titans fans that was somebody kids could look up to. And still so involved with the organization to this day. I am a big Eddie George fan. Let's get into the top 2. At number 2, it goes to big Derrick Henry. He comes in at number 2. For those who don't know, I live in the state of Alabama. I knew all about Derrick Henry because of his time with the Crimson Tide and him, doing what he did there, which was unbelievable. So I was excited when the Titans drafted him, but I had no idea what he would go on to become. I talked about how there were times where Eddie carried the team. Derrick Henry many times literally carried the Tennessee Titans. The 2019 playoff run, which was led by Derrick, I will never forget it. The 2,000-yard year, and then 2021 when he got hurt and he was on pace to shatter his record from the previous year. To watch the way that this guy could stiff-arm grown men into the dirt, to watch the way that this guy could run people over, could run away from people, the speed, just a complete... I think when it's all said and done, especially when you consider what he's doing in Baltimore still, he's going to go down as an all-time great running back in this league because of his longevity, the way that he just continues to do it year after year. At such a high level, he is not human. And at number 1, the 4th of July was just the other day, and it was the commemorating the untimely passing of this legend. He is my favorite Titan of all time still to this day, and it is Steve Air McNair. I don't think I would be nearly the Tennessee Titans fan I am today if it were not for Steve McNair. I do not think I would be nearly the fan of the game that I am today if it were not for Steve McNair. You want to talk about the city of Nashville rallying around a player. How could you not root for Steve McNair back in the day? Just playing hurt all the time, tough as nails, couldn't keep him out of games. Didn't matter what he did. If he threw an interception, if he threw 3 interceptions, he would keep going out there and finding ways to get it done. He was such a down-to-earth, just human. Like, you would think in that level he would be larger than life, untouchable, but he was still so relatable and so human in the eyes of the fans. like I said, how do you not root for this guy? Was it always pretty? Absolutely not. But Steve could, just by sheer passion and will, could find ways to win football games in a way that's unlike anything I've ever seen. And he remains my all-time favorite Titan and maybe my all-time favorite football player ever. The late, the great Steve Air McNair. Picture of him on the wall. Let me know your top 5 favorite Titans of all time in the comments below, and let me know what other categories you'd like to see in the coming days and weeks. God bless you, everybody. Tighten up. Bye.